You learned to study faces before you learned to trust them. You noticed the tiny pause before someone answered you, the distracted nod, the conversation that drifted away while you were still trying to explain. You felt the moment people stopped listening, long before they actually did. So you started editing yourself, shortening stories, swallowing feelings, choosing the version of yourself that required the least explanation. Because every time you reached for understanding, you seemed to find confusion instead. And eventually, a question began living quietly inside you. If nobody truly understood what was happening inside you, did anybody ever really see you at all?
When understanding is missing, a child does not assume the adults are limited. A child assumes something must be wrong with the child. So you became an investigator. You searched for hidden mistakes, wrong words, wrong emotions, wrong needs. You learned to monitor yourself with exhausting precision. Not because you were broken, because your nervous system was trying to solve a mystery. Every confused look felt like evidence. Every misunderstanding felt like proof. And slowly, you stopped asking if people understood.
The misunderstanding rarely stayed in conversations. It followed you home. It followed you into friendships, into classrooms, into silence. You learned how to translate yourself before speaking. You rehearsed explanations nobody had asked for yet. You predicted reactions before they happened. You became skilled at reading rooms, skilled at noticing tension, skilled at disappearing. People often called you mature, but maturity was not what they were seeing. They were seeing adaptation, a nervous system that learned safety could depend on anticipation. There is a particular loneliness that comes from being physically present and emotionally untranslated. People may have loved you. People may have cared. But care and understanding are not always the same thing. Part of you kept waiting for someone to finally say the words you never heard. Not advice, not correction, not interpretation, just recognition. The simple relief of hearing someone describe your experience accurately enough that your body could finally stop defending it. But the moment rarely came. And the waiting became part of who you were. Over time, the adaptation became invisible, even to you. The constant scanning, the overexplaining, the fear of being misunderstood, the instinct to shrink your needs. It all began to feel like personality. But these patterns were not evidence of damage. They were evidence of intelligence, evidence of survival, evidence of a young mind trying to create connection in environments where emotional translation was inconsistent. You were never broken. You adapted. And adaptation is often mistaken for identity. Perhaps the deepest wound was never the misunderstanding itself. It was the conclusion that followed. The belief that If people could not understand you, then your inner world must somehow be too much, too complicated, too sensitive, too different. Yet the truth hidden beneath years of adaptation is quieter than that. Children are not born believing they are difficult to understand. They arrive expecting connection, expecting reflection, expecting to be known. And when that reflection is missing, they learn to survive without it. But the longing remains. Not because something is wrong with you, because understanding was always a human need.